Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk were always powerful and rich and had too much influence probably. But I do think that there does seem to be this kind of affinity between the kind of oligarchy and authoritarianism, and part of it is that it's a tool for autocrats to stay in power. I mean, it's, there's this kind of paradox where authoritarian, I've always thought, well, why don't business leaders understand the threats posed by authoritarians to democracy? And I think part of the problem is that, authoritarianism is certainly bad for capitalism, but it's good for capitalists. I mean, if you're well connected, if capitalism means free market competition, it's not good for that, because the autocrat can pick winners and losers, and you have a kind of crony clientelist kind of capitalism. So it's bad for the system as a whole, but what happens is individual particular businesses or entrepreneurs can get special deals. And so there seems to be this kind of affinity between authoritarianism and this kind of crony capitalism. Just a final point I would make is that, the genius of democracy is that it's, in principle, a self-correcting system. So that is, when it performs badly, voters can throw the government out. May be painful to watch a lot of times because it's such a slowly self-correcting process. And in some ways, I sometimes think populism is, in fact, a symptom of self-correction at work.
Totally agree.
You're seeing a kind of slow, kind of creaking, democracy moves slowly, incrementally, people are dissatisfied. The problem with oligarchy and concentrations of wealth is that it prevents that self-correction from taking place. And so, once these kind of guys have so much influence, even when a government misbehaves, if they control media, if they control the public sphere, then it's very hard for the self-correcting mechanism to kick in.
Are there any from the hybrid audience?
So we have a very strong online audience, and one question from Thailand is, one important trait of right-wing populists is creating narratives that define certain groups as threats to racial purity. Trump is a strong anti-immigrant, and Thailand saw increasing hate towards Myanmar refugees and asylum seekers. How can democratic forces counter this narrative? Or do you believe that they have to also adopt anti-migrant rhetoric like the CDU did in Germany to regain electoral ground?
Yeah. Or Aung San Suu Kyi in Myanmar.
How do we respond to anti-immigrant sentiments? I think we need to really look at it as a two-side kind of thing. For Thailand, for example, without the Myanmar immigrants, the economic will be a disaster, in the sense that who runs the fishery industry, who runs the small and medium enterprises, who runs the restaurants, they are part of the economic engine. They're not a liability, they're an asset, if managed properly. The only problem why there's a problem with immigrants coming in is that someone is benefiting from the illegal immigrants into the country. And if you look at it as two sides of the coin and being able to manage it, if you do it properly with a good legal system, and understand that we will always be neighbors. And if neighbors starting to cough, then we get sick. And then if you leave them alone, the byproduct of that sickness will finally get to you. So if you want to fix problem, fix at the origin, and then making sure that we can prosper together. It can be a win-win situation when it comes to bordering countries. That would be my response.
I think we have got time for one more. Go ahead, Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler Engler, and I'm in MPP2. My question is, Freddie, you said that the people that believe in democracy can't forget the underlying causes of dissatisfaction. And yesterday, Professor Ziblack, your co-author, Steve Levitsky, said on a talk about mobilization during Democratic pathfinding that the center-left liberals across the democratic world don't have a political project beyond defending the status quo of the Obama administration, which isn't enough to get people out of bed. So my question is, how do you recommend that parties interested in defending democracies define their political project in order to get at those underlying causes and mobilize people to come out?
That's a short question. Anybody else have answers?
Easy. Well, I would say, don't rely on political scientists to tell you. That's what politicians do. That's